All right. Good morning, old school Texas Tech. Hope everyone is doing well this morning. How are you doing, Jordan?
All good here, man.
All right, very good. Okay, so Texas Tech finishes the season 8-4. I think our final prediction back in before the first game, I think both of us had them at 9 wins, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
So kind of my expectation going into the season was like 8 or 9 wins. It's obvious from following the group this year that there were a lot of Tech fans that had significantly higher expectations than that. But we both had them at 9-3, I believe, was slightly different. No, did we ended up with the? We may have ended up with the exact same predictions on the games initially. I forget. I have to go back and look at it. But anyway, so let's go ahead and start. Let's grade offense, defense, special teams, and then overall. And let's just leave it kind of wide open. Like if you want to talk a lot about the coaches, if you want to talk a lot about injuries, just kind of wide open. We'll just kind of leave it as open as no rules or anything. So why don't you start off? How do you grade the offense on the season? Obviously, yeah, our offensive coordinator uh, became a head coach at the end of the season. So how would you grade our offense for this year?
I saw to me the offense this year was above average. I know I used to see all the fans talking and posting, and I was always a little bit concerned with why people were always ripping on the offense and never held the defense accountable at all. If you look at how Taj Brooks was utilized this year versus last year, it was much better. And yeah, we had quarters where we disappeared, but what team doesn't? I'm not in the business of handing out A's by any means. I'd have to probably find it. They're just there's no A's to be handed out, but I would say I would give Zach Kitley and staff a solid B, like a middle of the road B. Like you look at your report card, B plus, B, B minus. I'd give him a B, which is like in that that 80 to 90 range. I'd give him like an 85 out of 100.
Okay. I'm actually probably going to surprise some people because I became frustrated with them many times, especially when we kind of stall out in the second, third quarter. But I do agree. I really love the way because I think we had an average offensive line, maybe even below average. I mean, that we really some of those games we were really good. I watched the line of scrimmage a lot, and I thought that we were just getting whipped in the trenches in a few of those games. Not all of them. There were some games where we were doing pretty well, but I actually would give the offense in totality. I would actually give it an A minus because we were the number one scoring offense in the Big 12. We were basically the number one offense in the entire conference. And that included Colorado, who had a great season. There were some other teams that put up some pretty good numbers on offense too, and we did that with, in my opinion, a average to below average offensive line. I love the way that Kidley utilized the tight ends to kind of help to compensate for some of that. I like the way he used Taj Brooks. I would not have given him even close to that kind of a grade. The offense, and it's not just a Coach Kidley grade. I think it's sort of what we made of the resources that we had. I give the offense an A minus. I think they did a good job. I think we did a good job. And then like the games where Baron Morton had to win a shootout. Especially the one in Stillwater. That's kind of if we wouldn't have had that game in Stillwater, I'm not sure I would have given him an A minus. But like when we had to have a running back put up like what was it like a buck 50 and something like that, and then Morton had to throw for 400 yards, and we were able to pull that off. That's pretty impressive. So I'm gonna give him an A minus.
Okay. I agree with the offensive line is what they've accomplished with that O line is remarkable. It
It
is.
is. It is. It is. Okay, so let's go. I'm feeling the grades are going to go down a little bit here. Let's go defense.
Oh boy, where do I start with the defense? I know this was not necessarily a popular opinion either, but I I hate to say it, but the defense had me pissed off most of the season. I thought, I understand there was a lot of injuries. There's a lot of guys that were missing, but a lot of teams deal with that. Other teams I follow had some issues where they lost multiple starters and still didn't see the steep drop off. I was concerned in game one when Abilene Christian came in and racked up 600 yards on us. It's like, where's the injury excuse here? So, um, I don't think it's a stretch to say this is the worst Tech defense I've seen in a number of years. So I don't want to give.
That's saying a lot. That's saying a lot.
I know that I think this defense. I don't know where the final stat was, but I know around the time we played Oklahoma State before the West Virginia game, we were like number 125 out of 133, I think, in total yards given up.
We gave it 414 points on the season.
That's a lot. That is a lot of points. I think it's absolutely remarkable that we won 8 games, giving up 414.
Yeah, more on that. Yeah, more on that.
That's why I almost feel like I should give the offense an A minus. Dear God, I would give Ken DeRuiter and company a D minus.
Okay. I'm actually the same. D minus, and the only reason I'm giving him a D minus and not an F is because, like, for example, Jacob Rodriguez was fantastic. Ben Roberts was fantastic. We have two really good linebackers. I know Jacob Rodriguez announced, I believe, like last night or into the middle of the night that he's coming back, which is fantastic news. But we've got to get and then I hope they do whatever possible to bring Ben Roberts back. He's a great player. Also, we've got two really good inside linebackers. Or I don't know what. It sounds like this new coach Shield Wood runs a 4-2-5. So or he runs some variations to that, but that's kind of like his base defense. So you've got the two linebackers. We've got, as long as we bring Ben Roberts back, you got Jacob Rodriguez and Ben Roberts, for the two part of the 4-2-5. Obviously, we need a lot of help in other places. But the only reason I give him a D minus is just because we got decimated with injuries. I mean, losing our best defensive tackle was probably due to Banks, and he's been out for most of the year. And then it was brutal to have the second team defensive linemen both out for the last 2 games. I mean, pretty impressive performance against West Virginia. And I like Tim DeRuiter. I really do. I mean, I've liked the last 2 defensive coordinators Tech's had. They just haven't gotten it done. I thought both of them in their last 2 games coached phenomenal games. DeRuiter did a good job against West Virginia, although I think they kind of quit on Neil Brown is kind of the feeling I got as I was watching that game. And then Patterson, when we played Leach in the Liberty Bowl, our defense played remarkable in that game. But overall, neither of those guys got it done. And it's a tough job. Being defensive coordinator at Tech has been a tough job for a generation.
Totally agree.
So, okay, before we forget, go ahead.
So the injuries are why I didn't give him an F either. I build in a little bit there.
Yeah. If it had not been for the injuries and they played if they had put up similar numbers without those injuries, it would have been a solid F. Solid. I mean, yeah. I mean that's the only thing that's keeping them above that. This one's a little more difficult for me because they were kind of inconsistent to me. Just from I didn't study the numbers as much, but how would you grade our special teams this year?
It did what do we miss, 1 field goal all year? I mean, I don't even know.
That was great. We gave up some long returns though.
Yeah, well, and all that falls into special teams, man. That's why I was having a harder time thinking about that one, how to grade them. I'm gonna stick to the safe grade that I have in mind, and I'm gonna go with another B for that. Because
I'm kind of in the B range.
The kicking is good,
but Kenny Perry's also the running back coach, and not just Taj, but the 2 sophomores or 2 freshmen this year. Next year will be sophomores. I thought they developed nicely. I mean, they were playing. They had some big plays, both those young guys. So Just from I think I'm really glad Kenny Perry's coming back to keep some continuity with the assistants. Who knows what's going to happen with all the position coaches? I'm hearing Darcel McBath, the former player who's in some sort of administrative role with Tech, but he's been a secondary coach before at a couple different places. I'm hearing he may end up being the secondary coach with Shieldwood, but I don't know exactly. That's just a rumor that I've heard. But yeah, Shieldwood. So listen to this. This is what's exciting. So let's talk about the two new coordinators a little bit. Oh no, but yeah, before we do that, we need to give the team its overall grade for the season. So what do you give for the overall?
Well, I look at it this way. I go, we have to average it out, right? If you give a B, and a D minus, that's not a B. I'm gonna give I still think 8-4, it's our best win total since what, 2009.
Yeah,
That's the reason to go 2 thumbs up. That's great. I'm gonna give the overall Joey McGuire and company, I'm gonna give him a C plus.
C
I think
plus.
that's fair.
Okay, I'm gonna give him a B. I'm gonna give him a B because he, to me, Joey McGuire is. I've read that book about Jimmy Johnson, which I highly recommend, by the way, called Swagger. And I'm not saying, and Jimmy Johnson and Joey McGuire are different people, but one thing that they do both have in common is I think they're both really good at the psychology of motivating players. And then I think both of them are also really good at surrounding themselves with really good assistants. I think it, and I think McGuire definitely. We'll talk about it here in a second. I think he's definitely, especially on defense, he's upgraded big time, and he hired another good offensive coach. But I think Joey McGuire would. I mean, I don't think we win. I don't think any of the last. I've posted some stuff on the group, and I get some snarky comebacks because I'm surprised by how many people dislike McGuire. But I guess in a group of close to 5,000 people, you're going to have a few. But I don't think we win the game on the road and at Ames. Actually, either this time or 2 years ago with Coach Wells. I love him, but I don't think we win it with Coach Kingsbury, and I don't think we win it with Coach Tuberville either. So I think you'd have to go back to Leach to have a head coach capable of motivating a team to go up in the cold weather in Ames and beat a team that a really good team on the road like that. And so that's kind of like I think that kind of got him into the B range, and then to have such a terrible defense and be able to motivate his players to put what was it 56 on Oklahoma State, to have to score that many points to win the game, and then to win a tough road game. First winning road record we've had too since like forever. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, no, I agree with all your points. I don't think any of the last couple of coaches would have pulled this off. I don't. I don't
Yeah,
get Joey McGuire. I like the guy. I think he's done a good job. I think any talk of firing him is absolutely ludicrous.
it's insane. It's insanity. He's actually the first. He had the best record to start the year since all the way back to Sloan in the '70s. Is one of the legendary Tech coaches. That's the one where
I did
Par-
not know that.
my guy over here, Parcells, was his defensive coordinator. So anyway, all right. So let's talk. Let's talk coordinator hires. I got some numbers here. We'll start with Shield Wood, which is a really cool name, I think, for a defensive coordinator. Look at his pictures, man. He looks like I've yet to see him smile. He looks like a pretty serious guy. And it's gonna take a guy like that to turn the Tech defense around. But we gave up 414 points this year on defense. Houston gave up 275 points this year on defense, and that's paired with an offense that only scored 168, and we
That is
scored more.
remarkable.
Yeah, and we scored more points on offense than we gave up on defense by a few. I don't have the number right in front of me. So he's like dealing with all these 3 and outs and stuff, and he only gave up 275 points. That's pretty impressive.
That's remarkable. Yeah, I got to tell you, if we gave up 275 points instead of 414, we're playing for the Big 12 title on
Yeah,
Saturday.
and we're the favorite in the game too.
Yes.
Yeah. Also, what was I going to say? Oh, and I think I didn't look. I don't have the yardage number right in front of me, but I think he only, and we're in the same conference, so we're playing some of the same teams. I think he gave up like something like 150 less yards per game than we did. So
Wow. That's a
yeah,
lot.
it's
That's
a
a
pretty
lot.
big difference. He's got some solid credentials. He was nominated for the Broyles Award last year for the top assistant coach in the country with Tulane. His last year at Tulane. So yeah, that I think it's a brilliant hire. And apparently, from what I heard, he really wanted the Tech job. Like he really wanted it. Apparently, when he got the phone call, it was like, when do you want me up? When do you want me to come up there? And like, I mean, he literally like flew up there within as quickly as they could get a charter jet down to him. I mean, he wanted the job
That's
bad, and
great.
obviously we
That's
were
great.
paying him a lot more. Yeah, because if he turns the Tech defense into like a juggernaut, he can get he can get a big time head coaching job. I think. I mean, he won't. I don't think he would have to go G5 route if he turns the Tech defense into a really good defense. He probably gets a Power Four opportunity because I mean nobody's been able to do that. Nobody's been able to do that in a long. I mean, when's the last time we've had a? Was it Ruffin McNeil? Was the last time we had a top 25?
2008, that 11-2 season with
Yeah,
Graham Harrell quarterback, that team was like number 25 on defense. I remember that.
yeah, and Ruffin McNeil should have gotten a power back then. It would have been Power Five job. He should have gotten the Power Five job with us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he should have been high. If in hindsight, they should go back in our time capsule, never hire Tuberville and give that to Ruffin McNeil. Totally
yeah,
agree.
he deserved it in my opinion. But
Absolutely
let's,
did. That's a
yeah,
conversation for another day, but Ruffin, yeah.
yeah, yeah, that would be actually we should have that conversation someday. All right, and then pulled up the numbers on Leftwich, which is really cool about this is we went down and we stole a defensive coordinator from a conference rival, and then we Utah definitely was big time after Leftwich. He actually was in Salt Lake City, and I think he was in Salt Lake City actually when he verbally agreed to take the Tech job, is my understanding on the timeline. He had already interviewed with Tech. But look at his numbers at Texas State, which I know is a lower conference, but in 2023, he put up 447 points that season. And 2024, he put up 445 points. So pretty impressive. There's a guy. I don't know his name. He's a local, like a college football beat writer. Actually, there were two of them that were talking about it, and they said if you were to ask people who really knew the coordinators in the state of Texas, and you were to ask who are the two most underrated coordinators in the state, it would have been Shieldwood and Leftwich, and they're like Joey McGuire got both of them. So it's
Impressive.
pretty impressive. So
I think this talks too, of course, you know.
yeah, and I'm starting to call on our group the Tech is poor caucus. That group.
I like that because I used to hear that a lot from people.
Yeah,
About,
they're still on there. They're still on
we
there.
can't afford anything. It's like shut up with that. Seriously.
We love them anyway. We love them anyway. Trust me, we don't end up with either of these coordinators if and we don't have people like Ollie Gordon, whether that happens or not. We don't have people like Ollie Gordon talking about transferring to Tech, and we don't have a chance of maybe Micah Hudson not entering the portal if we are a poor program. No way.
Totally agree, dude. Totally agree.
All right. Well, I enjoyed it, and I'm actually probably going to start coming out with some postseason grades on definitely the conference, the other teams in the conference. Jordan may join me for some of those, and I may even do it for some other teams in college football too, because why not? It's kind of fun. I enjoy it.
Yep.
All
Sounds
right.
good, man.
Have a good one, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.